What's going on, guys? It's Laura Kelley with Iconici MMA here with Tyler Stinson, who will be fighting in the Titan 30 on Halloween, October 31st. Jose Figueroa is his competitor. And I don't think we've ever actually had you on camera before, so we're going to drill you for a minute.
Nice. Let's do it.
So what made you first get involved in MMA?
First time my buddy showed me one of the episodes of the very first season of The Ultimate Fighter. He showed it to me. He said, "Hey, check out this stuff. You know, it's that UFC stuff, and shows how they train." And we started watching it, and we looked at each other and we're like, "Well, we could do this. You know, we could probably do this." So we bought one pair of boxing gloves, and I would have the left, he would have the right, and we sparred each other in the kitchen. We sparred each other out in the backyard. Had no idea what we were doing, and then about 10 days later, I lied to a promotion in Oklahoma, telling them that I had trained for months and in every aspect of MMA, and I hadn't.
They didn't question that. They were just like, "Oh, sure."
No, it was an online application to be a fighter, and in the training part, I just told them that I had been doing it for a while. They called me the next day, offered me a pro fight down in Oklahoma. And it was like 10 days, in 10 days or something like that. And so I said, sure, and signed the contract, sent it back to him. And then I went out and looked for a coach. Not really the order you want to do things. But I went out and looked for a coach. I found a guy that I'd coached football with the year before that. And he himself, when he was in his 20s, was a Golden Gloves boxer. I called him, and it was during the basketball season. And I said, "Mark, I need a crash course in boxing." I signed up for an MMA fight, and he said he called me a couple names that I probably shouldn't repeat, but he called me stupid. He called me really stupid, and I said, "Well, I signed the contract, I sent it back, nothing I can do now. I have to do it." So he invited me over, opened up his garage, backed out his Harley, and he had a heavy bag hanging that he just worked out on his own, and that was our gym. For that first fight, and then for the next probably 6 months, that was my training center, was Mark Jones's garage.
Did you win? Did you do well?
I did well. I lost a split decision. I fought another guy who had about 3 fights, I think, and had wrestled in college. And that's a well-known fact about me, is I didn't wrestle ever, except for backyard wrestling. Power bombs and stone cold stunners and stuff like that. And
we got off camera people.
So I did well. I lost a split decision, and they gave me a rematch the next month, and I went back down and I knocked him out.
And 37 fights later.
Yeah.
You've been in Bellator, you've been in World Series of Fighting, Strikeforce. What's been your toughest fight to date for you?
I mean, honestly, it was probably that very first fight. I've had a lot of tough fights, but the unknown factor of that very first fight, the locker room was the basement of this building that we fought in, and there were no rooms. It was an open basement, and so everybody, you can see your opponent warming up over there, or this guy's talking crap to this guy, and they're about to go fight. It was crazy. And all me and my buddy Jake had was a jump rope and some hand wraps, and everybody else had punch mitts. And one story I've told recently was there was a guy over, and there was these pillars, no padding, not just concrete pillars, and this guy was kicking one with his shin. He's kicking it, and
That's not intimidating.
We're sitting there doing jumping jacks, and jumping rope, thinking, what the hell did we get ourselves into? And just that mental fear of not knowing what you're doing, But then once I got in that cage and they shut the door and they rang the bell, my time to run had passed. If I would have climbed over the cage and ran away, I'd have to leave the country. That'd be really embarrassing. So once that bell rang, it was all right. That guy's coming at me. I'm trying to hurt me. I've got to hurt him a little bit more.
Wow. Well, First of all, he trains me, so thank you for not making me kick concrete pillars, because I don't think I could take that.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Eventually, we'll get it on tape, and it should be fun. So talk to me about going into this fight. You're going to Tampa, Sun Dome, your first fight since April. Where are you mentally? Because I just watched him go through the gauntlet in there, and that's a pretty terrifying thing anyway.
I've been training like I've had a fight for months. I got this fight on 2 weeks' notice, but it was perfect. I was peaking in everything, every aspect. Sparring I felt great. No injuries, nothing like that. So going into this fight, I feel awesome. I feel like he falls right into my style. He's older than me, but I have double the amount of fights that he has. I've got the experience on. The only thing that he has the experience on is just he's been on this earth longer than I have. I've been doing this fighting thing for 8 years. It's never going to be his turn to go. It's going to be my turn until the bell rings.
So you look like you're ready. You have a huge support team. And by the way, one of the support teams, I think you have the most unique pets of any fighter that I've ever met. So what are your pets for people that don't know?
I have 2 sugar gliders, a female and a male. The male's name is Suge Knight, and the female's name is Phyllis. They're
really adorable, too. So why the sugar glider? I don't think I've ever asked you why you got them.
It's pretty interesting. To some, maybe some it's really stupid, but after my first fight in the World Series, I won, and whenever I win a fight and I get, paid somewhat good money, I like to go out and I like to treat myself to one, big purchase, and I went out looking for a PlayStation 4. I wanted a PlayStation 4. Went to about 4 different places, they didn't have them, so then I called I said, all right, screw it. I'll get an Xbox One. Nobody had those either. And then I was riding around, and a buddy of mine said, dude, you should get a sugar glider. And I knew what it was.
Very different from a gaming system.
I knew what it was, but apparently a lot of people don't know what a sugar glider is. And I just looked at it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a damn sugar glider today. Called the pet shop. They had one. Ran there. He was the last one in there. And I said, I'll take everything. I want to take the cage with me. I don't want you to mess with them or anything. And I bought him, threw him in my car, and that was Suge Knight. That was back in January, and had him for about 6 months. And then just recently, I got the female, got Phyllis involved. But yeah, they're really cool. They're nocturnal. They're kind of up around the same time that I am. They sleep during the day, play at night, run on the wheel. They eat worms.
Well, she's awesome. A rescue, because I think a lot of people get those things. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. So it's good that you were able to save her from.
Yeah. So that was, you're supposed to have them in pairs. So if you buy one, if you see this and you Google them, you're supposed to get them in pairs. Don't get them single. They'll get depressed. It happens.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be depressed. Yeah. No one wants a depressed sugar glider either.
Nobody wants to be alone.
So, is there anything you want to add before we wrap up?
To everybody that helped me out on GoFundMe.com, I got this fight short notice, and it's very hard to get sponsors on a short notice fight. It's very humbling to see the amount of help and support I got from those people. And everybody here at Grudge Training Center, the boys over at Large Marges in Wheat Ridge, best Philly subs in the world, not just Denver or Colorado, the world. And that's about it. And thank you for having me on.
All right, guys. This is Laura Kelley for Iconici MMA Titan FC 30, October 31st, Halloween. So dress up, watch the fight, and then go out. Or, watch the fight at your party.
Treat.
So it's CBS Sports.
Google that. Check it out. Yeah, and if you're going out, DVR it, and then watch it with your kids. Have a happy Halloween.